Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Actually, it's welcome back to Texas for me. I've been traveling so much. But actually next weekend, traveling again, but this time inside of Texas to Fredericksburg, where I have my Airbnb I've talked about on this channel being built, catering to audiophiles. Some updates on that you're not going to want to miss. But next week is the solar eclipse. And the property developer where I'm developing, he's a former recording engineer, wanted to make sure he had wine, distillery, brewery, plus he has an amphitheater on site and he's putting on a whole music festival because so many people are coming to Fredericksburg next week and it's going to be awesome. So I'm going to have some video from that as well. Actually, Oprah Gershman from Gershman Speakers, those great speakers you've seen on my channel, she came down from Canada this past weekend, and I couldn't see her because it was Easter weekend. I had family plans, but she's looking at buying property down here. So Texas is super hot, but it won't be long. I'll be heading out of Texas again for Axpona, and that's the purpose of today's video. Axpona's coming up, probably one of the biggest shows in all of North America, but also big for me because I have to cover that show like I normally do, but also Theoretica Applied Physics, the Bacch software that many of you know I sell. Edgar's going to be there with demos, and it's one of the rare chances, unless you come down and see me or go to one of my customers' homes, that you can hear the Bacch. There's not that many dealers. The margins are very small. It's not conducive to the distributor dealer making a fortune on. He's academia. It's one of the benefits, but also people have these misconceptions, and I'm going to address some of these misconceptions in this video, because what I wanted to do is, before the Axpona, release a few videos that address some of the FAQs so that when you're there, you can mostly concentrate on just listening and enjoying instead of a lot of Q&A. Obviously, I'm scheduling demos, dedicated demos before and after hours, and it looks like we're mostly full there already, but Thursday before the show starts, I'm going to slot some people in, and then even on Sunday after the show. So if you're interested, I sell the Bacch Audio Dio and the Bacch for Mac. I'm the only one that can sell the Bacch for Mac as a dealer, and one of the perks of buying through me and using my link that's in the description of my videos is that you will join my WhatsApp group. And the WhatsApp group has over 80 members now, and a large percentage of them have the Bacch. And we're constantly giving tips, tricks, sharing recordings and stuff, and sharing measurements. So it's the biggest user group in the world and the source for the best information on the Bacch, because online I can't police what's being said. Edgar's actually in the WhatsApp group, and one of the things I'm going to attach to the end of this video is a Zoom he did with my members. It was over 2 hours long, where we could ask him questions. He even talks about what's coming next. He's always working on something next. I'll put that in another video, but this video I wanted to concentrate on two things: frequently asked questions, and in particular in the Zoom, somebody asked about integrating subs with the Bacch. And it has a crossover module, active crossover, that will allow you to actively cross over your speakers or integrate subs that I really haven't talked about much, but this is super powerful and can be decision making alone why you would want this product, because the DAC is state of the art. Will compete with anything out there. People have sold mega dollar DACs after buying the audio. But in case of active crossover and integrating subs, I wanted to showcase this question and answer that came up in the Zoom to address that. The other thing I wanted to really briefly address was some of the misconceptions I get or see, like on Facebook forums and sometimes at shows when people come up to me. And I don't know where this has become suddenly hot, but suddenly people are just saying, I don't really care about measurements. I don't care about anything except if I emotionally connect to the music. You know, my ears are the best measuring tool, and that's all I care about. And let me tell you, I don't blame you. It's your money, your system, whatever floats your boat and emotionally attaches you to a piece of equipment, even if it just looks. You do you. I don't really care to convince you otherwise. But make sure you're intellectually honest, number one, and self-aware when you use that as your primary goal for what you decide to buy. Is it motivated by truly comparing this emotional attachment to actual high fidelity metrics? Most people are too lazy to do that comparison and realize when they're getting that emotional attachment, it's because the metrics that are provided are better. And once you start correlating good measurements to then what you're hearing, it will be a whole new ballgame. Now, sometimes you can just emotionally attach to something because it's the right song at the right volume. You play on that exact same equipment, the wrong song you don't like at the wrong volume, that exact same gear won't emotionally attach to you. So also make sure you're considering all these other variables when you're using that primitive metric to decide if something's good or not. There has to be some basis, in my opinion, in my experience. You think you have more experience than me? So be it. I'm not here to argue with you. I've done a lot of time testing high fidelity metrics with what I hear. I've probably done it more than 99% of the planet, okay? And when you get these measurements, which you're seeing here, I think I've shown this before, left and right, they're on top of each other, but I've got left and right being measured. Red is right and black is left. They're on top of each other, but totally flat all the way to 1,000 hertz. Now, once you get to 1,000 hertz, because we're doing binaural measurements, your ear pinna and other things impact what you hear. So that's another part of the secret sauce I'll deal with in a different video of how this should be how we listen in real life versus flat when you're taking binaural measurements and you don't want to overcorrect for certain things at certain frequencies. That's a whole nother side. But let's just deal with what people contemporarily know. Flat results up to 1,000 hertz. Most people have never even heard this. Never. In fact, if you don't have this product, you have no way to confirm if you've ever heard results this good at your listening position in your ear. You don't. You don't have that ability to even say so. Go look at anechoic measurements of any speaker. You won't find in one stereophile or any, even manufacturer's own measurements in an anechoic chamber that they can get these results perfect like this. You can't. So when you say, oh, DSP is this, that, the other, reasons why you don't, make sure you've heard this first before you say that, because almost everybody, once they finally hear this level of perfection in the measurements, all of a sudden, oh, wow, I never heard my recording like this. I never heard those details before. I can now listen to recordings that I thought was a bad recording. No, it was really, those recordings were exacerbating problems in my frequency response and caused me issues. So this is a whole nother level of DSP. But even if you're just comparing to normal DSP, make sure your motivations for why you're saying you don't like DSP are intellectually honest and based on actual comparisons to the metrics. These high fidelity metrics didn't just come out of nowhere. They are based on things that people in mass and in high percentages prefer better to having them poor. And most every designer shoots for good high fidelity metrics. So, this, don't be so primitive with how you judge gear. Make sure you're self-aware. And that's just one of the things I wanted to address in this video. Again, set up a demo where your ears can tell you, and the emotional attachment, I guarantee you will be there. You won't go back after hearing this, I can guarantee you. But if you want to, before the show, you can join my membership section, even if you don't order. I do encourage you to order the Bacch audio before Axpona. The deadline is already passed for the Bacch for Mac, getting ORC at a discounted rate, but the audio is not released formally yet, but will be at Axpona. You could place your order before then and get a slightly discounted rate on the ORC, the optimal room correction. Again, all the rewards that the Bacch got from Absolute Sound and all that has nothing to do with the optimal room correction, getting this. They haven't even heard that yet, okay? It's based on the crosstalk cancellation, the improved impulse response, byproducts, and the elimination of comb filtering, timing-based DSP. That's what won all the awards to date. This is new, and you're going to be able to hear this at Axpona. So go ahead and schedule a demo with me if you can. Hear it for yourself. Join the membership group if you want. You hit subscribe and then you hit join on YouTube. You can talk to people that have already had this, and you can get whatever feedback you want directly from people that have it other than me. All right, guys, so look forward to seeing many of you at Axpona. Always, if you want, come out here and listen to my system in Houston if you're in the area, or join the membership group and talk to plenty of members. All right, guys, I'll see you back here soon.
Okay.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Right.
Yeah, Edgar, actually, I asked this question when you were helping me set up ORC.
Yeah.
This is also for Jason. And it's a curiosity because I have full range speakers, but if I was to integrate a sub, what would be the optimal way to integrate it with Bacch? Because I know that Jason has a lot of experience with Dirac, and there's been some conversation about this, and it's more of a curiosity. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not, but I was just curious to get your opinion.
With that room correction, as I mentioned earlier, subs are very difficult because wherever you put them and you sit in a point, you could be, if you move a few centimeters up and down, you can the sound level at that low frequency can go up by many decibels, because you could be in a destructive interference or constructive interference. You can be at a node, you can hear nothing at all, and practically. So the point is that you can never integrate a sub easily by itself by moving it, or even two subs. And if you use bass traps, it gets easier, but you still, with the room correction, it's very easy. You just sit wherever you want to sit. Make sure your sub can give enough volume there. It's not, you're not small, so you don't have to really use too much power for the stuff. And then make an ORC filter. It will and extend it to whatever low frequency. Like in here, it moves the default to 20 hertz. So, and it will fix it for you. It's as simple as clicking arm and fire.
All right. Also, to jump in, this is a good time to feature that you have a crossover that'll make it easy to roll off your mains and your. So this is a good chance to show people this is an easy way to integrate subs.
Yeah, this is for this comes even with the intro version. The Linguist, we decided to put it with every version. This is the Linguist Riley crossover, 64 bits, close to 4th order. You can change the cutoff frequency. You can change the level of the bands. You can add different delays to align, phase align, tweeter, woofer, subwoofer. A lot of people in a two-band mode, like here, two-band mode for a subwoofer. So you can hear dial subwoofer. It's very accurate, super accurate. I spent a whole vacation working on this in Scotland, and brings back memories. That's why I chose that color also from the sand on the Isle of Skye. But the bottom line is, this is, as Jason was mentioning, this is a way to integrate a sub. If you want, you can. The Babyface Pro has 2 analog outs that you can have, 2 stereo outs that you can use that for a sub, but it doesn't have much headroom. We recommend that you use the RME UCX 2. It's a very good device, and that or if you have that with output, that you basically, we can walk you through it. It's very intuitive. You just assign the sub to some channels, the high frequency to that. If you have bands, you can do it for subwoofer, woofer, and tweeter.
Am I looking at the if you had an Adeo, a 3-band crossover network software? Is that
there is one like it. I wrote one for those very different code, and one here for the Bacch DSP. It has also Linguist Riley. As a matter of fact, the Bacch SP audio DO have an 8th order. This only goes to 4th order. So it's even, we can go even to higher order with it. But this is very much the same principle. Yes.